Ashley. How are you?
I'm good, Sandra. How are you?
Good, good. I'm so glad you can make it on my show. I know last time, I can't remember what we had to reschedule, but we're making it happen now.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yes, you're welcome. And just to give people a little bit of background, I met Ashley at the SWE Conference, which is Society of Women Engineers. It was the SWE 24 conference in Chicago, and you came to my talk, and we've interacted sometimes since. You're a UC Irvine student about to graduate, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about how you're going to graduate debt free, which will be interesting to lots of people. But I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Ashley. I'm a fourth year civil engineering major out in the University of California, Irvine. I'm currently interning at American Integrated Services. I've been lucky enough to have a couple internships throughout my college career, and I'm going to be graduating this June.
Yeah, that's so exciting. That's so exciting. Yeah, and you already have a job lined up, which is exciting too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and what really fascinated me about your story was when we were talking, you mentioned that you didn't get a lot of, let's call it financial support from your family,
Yeah.
right? For lack of a better term. So basically, you're going to graduate debt free through your kind of own means. I mean, I know you got some money from other sources, but not family support necessarily. So I think that's becoming more unique and unusual now. And I really applaud you for that.
Thank you.
It's not easy to fund college, especially when we're talking about, maybe you don't get as much support from your family, but that might be becoming the norm now. I don't think everyone can expect support from their family. But I would love to dig more into that. So first of all, how did you pick UC Irvine?
Yeah, so I'm also a first generation student. So when I was applying for colleges, senior year of high school, my parents told me that I had to choose the university based off of the funding that they would give me, any scholarships that they would offer, just because right out of the blue, they told me that I had to support myself financially in that way, or have like the school give me financial aid. So applying to different universities, Cal States, UCs, and just other places around the U.S. I was looking for the offers with scholarships and grants that were already given to me. Of course, it's way easier in-state getting that in-state funding. So I was lucky enough to get some scholarships and grants with UC Irvine, and doing all the calculations, it was much better deal than doing like community college and transferring later.
Wow, wow. So how did you feel when your parents told you that? You were in high school, right? When they're telling you that.
Yeah, graduating high school and then starting to venture out into college is a big transition. So I'm glad that they told me up front that I had to
Yeah,
choose based off
I do agree with that.
of
Yeah.
grants. But it was a little saddening, but I know how like my family works with money, so it was almost for certain that I was going to have to choose based off grants. But they supported me, which whatever like major I was gonna try to go into, because I was still super unsure, being in high school, what I actually wanted to do. So they were supportive of like what I chose, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, Irvine's like still kind of close." So I'm from the IE, so we still kind of do little like lunch dates every now and then.
Yeah, I don't know if you know Ramit Sethi that well. He's a finance guru guy. But very, very similar story where his parents were immigrants from India, and they made it real clear and sat him down in high school and told him, "We're not going to pay for your college. So if you're going to go, it's going to be all funded through scholarships." And he actually, I think he went to Stanford.
Oh, nice.
But he learned how to get money and how to interview and get scholarships. So I don't think he sees it like as a bad thing now. He just sees it as like he could be really resourceful. But I do like you brought up a good point where sometimes the parents can be really unclear with the kids about how much support they're going to give the kids. And then sometimes I'll even do consultations with people and they're about to enter college, right?
Yeah.
And they have no idea how much financial support they're going to get from the parents. The parents would said they would help, right? But what does that mean? And And it's just very good to be on the same page about what exactly that means, even if it was maybe a bit disheartening, but they made it super clear. So it's like, oh, it's on you if you really want to go. What kind of drove you to want to go to college so much? Because maybe if you heard that, was it discouraging? Were you contemplating like maybe I can do something else, or I shouldn't go? Or were you like, I'm going to go, I'm going to make this happen?
Yeah. I think, especially in today's world, it's very much expected to at least get your bachelor's degree to, make it into like any industries. So I didn't want to stop with just my high school diploma. I wanted to keep going, keep learning. Also, my dad, he kind of studied engineering, but he unfortunately dropped out of college and because of funding. He didn't have enough funds to support himself, and his family couldn't support him to go to college. So it's also just kind of living out my dad's dream, but I also like civil engineering and wanting to, keep going in this industry, in this major. So it's a little bit of like living out my dad's dream, but also wanting to keep learning and make like a stance for myself and just like be on my own with my own like major and how I'll like keep growing with this.
Yeah, that is amazing. And you brought up a good point. Sometimes you have to think of the end that you're trying to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, you can't be an engineer without a 4-year degree,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, I mean, you kind of knew the goal you wanted, and then you had to like reverse engineer that. But what inspired you to go into? I know you mentioned your dad's influence, but anything else, or how did you know so early? Because I think a lot of people. You mentioned even kind of you were undecided a little bit. What helped you decide what you wanted to study in college?
Yeah, so a lot of my cousins are older than me, so I had a lot of talks with them, like, how did you pick your major? Like, how'd you know that you wanted to do, like, whatever they are studying and now pursuing in, like, actual jobs? Um, so it's just, like, trying to figure out what I like and how I can turn that into working and then making money. And so also talking with my parents, again, they also lived like they didn't live like a frugal life out in the Philippines where they're from. So they would tell me stories of how like our master bedroom back at my house is bigger than their whole house out in the Philippines. So I was like, oh, I really want to build them a house one day. Like that'd be like the biggest gift to them for how much they provided for me my whole life. Coming here, being immigrants and all that. So I was like, how do I build houses? And I was really interested in architecture and all the design aspects and just how beautiful architecture is. But unfortunately, UC Irvine doesn't have an architecture program. So I went with the next best thing, which was civil engineering. Talking about like engineering versus like architecture, I feel like engineering has definitely been more challenging in like the problem solving and like math, physics. And I think it's also more bang for your buck. You only really need the 4 years of university and then you can kind of go into industry. With architecture, I think they're more looking towards getting their master's degree. So at least I get to finish earlier and then start working right after graduation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. You can get out into the working industry, perhaps a bit faster, and that would be good for you. But I love that how it came out of inspiration from your parents, right? And that's influenced you, so you get to honor them in a way. But back to the, getting school paid for, a good chunk of it. Kind of, you don't have to go into all the number details, but like, what are some of the sources? Was it grants? Was it scholarships? What kind of aid did you get?
Yeah, for my first year, I got this thing called the Chancellor's Excellence Scholarship. I don't actually remember the criteria because it was a couple years ago, but I entered with that and then also with UC Irvine grants, and then also with FAFSA. So that whole combined amount gave me enough money to pay for my tuition and my dorms. Okay. So it was kind of like required to be in the dorms like first year to kind of get that experience being on campus and like in the university life. So I got that paid for, and then like after that I was just applying to other scholarships with UC Irvine. They have a website called Scholarship Universe which matches you with what scholarships you can apply for, so it's really helpful to like have that already made for us, and it'll tell us like the scholarships that the school offers and then outside scholarships too. So I was able to get another scholarship for like my second year, and then with like again like UC Irvine grant and then FAFSA money just helped me pay my way for the rest of the years. And I've still been trying to do like the smaller scholarships that are offered around campus, just to pay for like other books and resources and all that. But yeah, I've been lucky enough to have that just pay for like tuition, and some of the money would also be used for like my rent in like the different apartments I've been in.
Okay. So some of them were merit based, right? And like when you're in high school, or I guess even when you're in college, did that kind of also influence you where you're like thinking like, oh, I have to do really well so I can apply for some of this, scholarships to get school paid for?
For some of them, yes. I think most of my scholarships have been like need based.
Okay.
I've been lucky enough
That's all right.
to get those too. And then, with engineering, I've been doing a lot of internships, and they pay really well for engineering internships. So I use that money for like rent and then just for other like fun stuff too.
Right, because you also worked too, so that's a factor too. That was a combination. Okay, well, it's just being very resourceful. It definitely took some time and energy, I'm sure, to apply for all those things, right? It's not something, I think that's another thing that discourages people, the effort to put in for those things. And honestly, sometimes you get rejected, right?
Yeah.
But think about if you actually do get some of them, like you're literally like, for all the consternation of putting in paperwork and filling out things, it's really paying off, right? So
Yeah, I mean, it did take a lot of effort and time to just do like applications for like scholarships and like internships and jobs and all that. But yeah, it has been very rewarding, and it's just a better use of my time because I know like social media is so big. So I catch myself just, scrolling on TikTok, on Instagram, and it's like, I should just be applying for stuff and it'll be more useful, could benefit me better than just
I like that.
social
I like
media
that.
stuff.
Yeah. Do stuff that can possibly make you some money. Why not,
Yeah.
right? The other one's stealing your money, stealing your time and attention, and putting things in front of your face that you might want to buy that you didn't want to buy.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that mindset shift. But yeah, I find even like my son, they don't want to go through the effort. You do get rejected a lot. They're like, well, what's the point? But it's all that diligence and effort that really could pay off. But yeah, I didn't want to discount that it's quite a bit of time and energy and effort for anybody to go through all this and the wickets and all the stuff to get the money. Yeah, kudos to you. And that's amazing. So, I mean, I know you also do this peer advisor job on campus, and I want you to tell everyone a little bit more about that, about what it is and how you got it. And
yeah, so peer advising works with the academic advisors with school. I'm with the School of Engineering, but all of UCI has their own different peer advisors. And we deal with like student affairs. We make like plans of study, course planning, and just like answering any questions that peers have of just like coursework, or a lot of the freshmen have like questions of like how UCI kind of works, and they like to know of our experiences. I do them with Abby, who you had a couple weeks ago. But yeah, and then I got that position. I applied my sophomore year and then interviewed and got it start of like junior year, or when I really started was junior year, with peer advising. So this is my second year doing it, and it's really sweet. Like all the students will come, and even if their questions are small, like I feel like I really made like a difference in their day. Or I get to see some of my like civil engineering friends, and they'll say like, oh, your plan of study like really helped me. Like I don't feel like crazy, and I know which courses I have to take. So it's really nice to know that I'm making that difference. I got it because like I wanted to be more on campus. In high school, I used to be in like so many clubs, and then starting at UCI, my first and second year, I was kind of just getting into the groove of like quarter system and university, college life. So junior year, I was like, I want to be more involved and do stuff.
Yeah,
have more
that's
stuff on my
good.
resume, of course. So I was lucky enough to be hired with them, and it's such a great experience. They're the ones that sent me over to the SWE conference in Chicago. It worked out nicely.
Yeah, I don't think peer advisor existed when I was in college. So it's just kind of like being a little bit like an academic advisor, but you're like the same age as the students and you're their peer.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Basically, we can do like everything like the academic counselors can do, but we can provide like that student insight. So
Uh-huh.
again, like a lot of the freshmen, like sophomores, underclassmen will have like questions like, "Oh, is this class hard? Like, is this professor hard?" So not
Hmm.
the academic none of the academic counselors will know that. So we kind of just are able to say that and just provide that insight for them, and we can relay any other conflicts or comments that the students have to the advisors, and we can like help them resolve those too.
Oh, okay. I think I'm really getting it now because I was thinking about why I didn't know what it was, but I don't think it existed at all. I think we just had academic advisors. So I see that more often now on LinkedIn, peer advisors. So okay, that makes more
Yeah.
sense. But awesome. That's a cool thing that you got to do on campus, and it was a job you got paid for, but you also got to help a lot of students and all that and adjust to college life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, yeah, you mentioned the SWE conference. So tell us what you thought about SWE 24 last year.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'm so thankful that UCI and more so the Office of Access and Inclusion at school paid for our trip to go. It was my first year going as an
Hmm.
undergrad because it was just so much money for me to spend for the past years. So we were so lucky to be funded and not have that financial burden to go. But yeah, I met so many different companies, so many different people. It's great to see so many women engineers in the same place and learn their background from where they came, and just even women engineers my age, so just making like those connections, more friends. It was great to see, and I learned my financial literacy stuff from you, so it
Yeah.
was pretty
Yeah.
great. I started like budgeting a little bit more after our talk or after your lecture, so it's been a really great experience. And I was able to get an offer from SWE, but I had turned that one down because there was a position that I wanted more closer to here.
Oh, wow. So you actually landed an offer your first year that you went to SWE.
Yeah, so I was looking for like full time positions, and I even went to companies I just didn't even like research before going, and I got like an offer from them. But yeah, like comparing like different offer letters, I chose a different one.
Oh, but no, it's just amazing you got an offer, period, because
Yeah.
it sounds like you weren't really angling for it so much. Like other people, that's their only reason to go to the SWE conference, but it was a byproduct of going, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was going there to try and get an offer, but it being my first year, I was trying to make the most of it. So I was trying to go to the different luncheons and the different classes, and then also talk to all the companies at the career fair.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just to give people context about it that aren't familiar with the conference, there were over 20,000 people there. It was a huge conference. So, yeah, it was overwhelming, just the number of people. And I'm just amazed. I'm not saying that you're not amazing for getting, but like your first time not being that prepared for like a huge conference that you're able to land an offer. So it just really proves because some people, they get so discouraged
Oh
because
yeah,
that's their whole goal and that's why they're going. And then they don't land anything. And I tell people like, no, there are other people that got offers.
yeah,
I'm not saying they did something wrong, but it's like it's possible. It's definitely possible. It happened for other people. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I think also it's about meeting right people at the right time. Being at the conference for like the whole day can be a little tiring, so I know the
Oh yeah.
recruiters are definitely tired too.
Yes.
So it's kind of just meeting someone who still has that type of energy, and then you can also match energies and get to whatever conclusion you want to get to.
Yeah. Were there a lot of companies there for civil engineers?
Yeah, there's quite a lot. Like there was more than I was able to research before going. So I was just stopping by like all the booths, like, what? Tell me more about your company. Please don't ask me a company question. I didn't have time to look at yours. But it was really nice. I enjoyed like seeing all the different companies. I even talked to companies that weren't civil engineering just because I was interested. Like their booths looked really cool. So I was like, what do you
Oh, yeah. There were some good ones. Oh, I can't remember the name of the company. The one where everyone wore scrubs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, everyone was
yeah,
around that
everyone
one.
was really cool. And I got so many cool, like, little trinkets and stuff from the conference. So it was really fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So many giveaways and freebies. The John Deere people with their, I don't want to say it's a uniform. It was a really cute outfit they were all wearing, but it really stood out, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, that's good. You had such a good experience from it. Do you think you'll go again in the future?
I definitely want to go to next year's, it being in New Orleans. I just went like the past summer, so I want to go back. And then, as another treat, I get to go back to SWE.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Yeah, they're doing it in a great location. They seem to always do them in good locations, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was my mistake. I regretted not adding on more time to my Chicago trip because it was my first time to Chicago to just see and do more stuff around Chicago. So next time, lesson learned, I'm going to tack on some more time to explore around.
Yeah, we were only there for like 3 or 4 days, so we just packed on, checking out the Chicago like touristy spots like right after conference.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, they do pick some fun places to go to, and there's so many things to do during the conference. But yeah, I'm going to definitely make some time. But yeah, it'll be fun if you come to if the next one. I will definitely be there. It's closer to me too. Yeah, it's actually driving distance, but I think I'll fly anyways.
Yeah,
but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm super excited to go back to like New Orleans. So I really want to go to the SWE 25 conference. I think also I'll be graduated. It'll be a different experience. So it'll be something to look forward to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And there's something about where you don't really need to get a job. You're just going to the conference more to enjoy the conference. And yeah, it'll be a different experience because you can just enjoy it for what you want to get out of it, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, what are you looking forward to when you start your career? And, like it'll be a big transition pretty soon from college student and, working as an intern and all that and all your college jobs to then you'll be like a professional working engineer.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Engineering, I hope to always like learn something new. I'm being hired on as like a design engineer, so it's closer to me building houses without going into structural engineering with like a master's program. So I'm glad I kind of got to like bypass that. But yeah, I hope to like learn so many new things. They tell me I have to do a lot more like AutoCAD. I feel like UCI doesn't have a lot of like AutoCAD classes, so excited to learn more like the program and all that. So really good.
Yeah. Are you going to have to pursue your EIT and PE, I presume?
I'm taking my EIT test late the end of March, so hopefully I pass.
Exciting.
Yeah, but it's not required for my job, but it is just something nice to have. A lot of my like classmates have gotten it, so it's just like pushing myself to keep studying and make it to the test. I eventually do want to do like my PE test, but that's like a further quest to do.
Oh yeah, you need the hours and you need to all that. But yeah, that's surprising they're not requiring it. But yeah, it's very common for civil, so I figured that's like the next couple of things for you. And yeah, I agree. You should do the PE while you're still like all these subjects are very fresh on your mind and you're still like in that, study groove and and get it out of the way. And then the PE is way out there. But yeah. Okay, awesome. I mean, what else do you look forward to when you start this? Are you going to move when you graduate from college, or staying in the same place, or?
Yeah, so my new position will be out in San Diego, and I live in Fountain Valley right now. It's closer to like Irvine area where school is at. So we're planning to move down to like Oceanside or like San Diego area. We also like I'm planning a grad trip to Europe like right after
Oh,
graduation, and then maybe
exciting.
like stay over there for a couple weeks and then move to like San Diego area and then start.
Wow, how exciting. Where are you going to go in Europe?
What's planned, like booked right now, is Milan and then Rome. And we want to go to like Greece and maybe like Paris. I'm also like a Disney fan, so I want to go
Oh,
to Disneyland Paris.
yeah.
And then maybe like Ireland and like Dublin and stuff.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's ambitious for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what
Yeah.
makes it, but for
Yeah.
sure Milan and Rome right now.
Okay.
But we still have to like do all the planning for it.
Yeah. Yeah. That'll be a fun trip, and it's good to take some time off because working will be like a different. I don't want to say it's more stressful, but it's just
Different.
it's going to take some energy. Yeah, and you will not be able to take so much time off, especially in the beginning. So might as well enjoy some time off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the company that gave me the offer in San Diego, they specifically told me to go take a grad trip. So they're on board. Like they know that I'm going to go do that first before starting with them. So they were encouraging me to go.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So if someone out there is younger than you or trying to make it through college and struggling to pay for it, what kind of tips do you have for them?
Definitely just keep applying to scholarships. I know it's a crazy world to do that, and so much time goes into it, but just keep applying and someone will, give you that shot and be like, they need the money, let's give it to them. If you're looking for like a merit base, keep studying, do your best, try your hardest. I know like engineering or whatever classes, whatever major you decide to do is going to be like super hard, but keep going for it. Reach out in like office hours to your TAs, professors, if you're going for those merit-based scholarships. I think another big thing for me was internships and, getting money from internships. So again, it's another like application, but just do it.
Yes.
Right person, right time. You can like, someone will give you a shot, like a recruiter will see it and like resonate with you and your like profile, and they'll want to interview you, and just you have to ace that interview. As soon as you get the interview, you'll most likely get it. Not guaranteed, but once you pass the like just them getting your application, a lot of interviews will get hired. So just keep applying. You guys definitely got this. I definitely applied to like 100 like different internships and like scholarships just to get like one or two.
No, that's good to let people know that. I think people don't realize the numbers sometimes just to get a job or opportunity. What was the first year that you did an internship in college?
My first one was with Northrop Grumman, and that was my sophomore summer. So
Okay.
Going second year into my junior year. And then my second internship was a co-op internship during my junior year, and then I'm currently in a different one right now. So you can definitely start earlier than me. Like you can start in freshman year, but I just didn't have that many like projects or anything on my resume to like start applying. I also had to do summer school my freshman summer, so I didn't have time to do a summer internship that year. But
oh no, that's all right.
So just keep applying. Like I know that you have to do so many applications, and it gets repetitive, but you'll get like an internship. Like I believe in LUP school.
Oh, well, that's good to know. Yeah, because I feel like, people get discouraged, but then when you ask them sometimes, how many did you apply for? And they say like, I don't know, 5. And it's like, well, yeah, you got to apply for like 50,
Yeah.
Or 100.
To like 50 to just hear back from like one.
Yeah, it's kind of like a funnel. It's narrowing down all the time. It was funny. I was just at my university today at a career panel kind of resume review thing, and someone was asking for advice about how to get good at interviews. I'm like, you just have to do so many of them.
Yeah.
I've done so many of them.
That's
So, I mean, of course,
natural.
there's all these tips and all that, but there's nothing that prepares you for the pressure of an interview compared to like being in a real job interview. I mean, you can mock interview, you can practice, you can read questions on the internet, and all that. But yeah, yeah. But it's the sheer number of job
Yeah.
interviews I've been through that has prepared me where I'm not really that nervous anymore. But yeah, it's hard to tell people that because I mean I don't want to be like fake it till you make it and just seem more. It's like, well,
That
no,
doesn't
it's
work.
kind of hard. They
Yeah.
don't really have any experience or anything to back it up, right? And they do have a right to be nervous because they've never been through it very much,
Mhm.
right? And they care about the outcome. So it's just until they do more of them. It's kind of like I tell people like dating, like, you kind of don't want to just go on one date and marry someone. Go on more dates, date some other people, have some bad dates. You have some good dates. You have some dates that the guy turns out better than you thought he was on the first date. You have some very promising first dates, and then later on, he's not the greatest guy. So
Yeah.
it's just like it's kind of like going through it and experiences, and it'd be really ideal if everyone's first date was like the first
Yeah.
person they married, or one job interview is
And
the
that's
job
it.
you land, or it's so funny. I also see people like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. They post they need a job on LinkedIn, but I tell them like, do that plus so much more.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I wish anytime I wanted a job, we all just posted on social media, and then the perfect job came in your DMs from a recruiter.
Yeah, it'd be a perfect world.
Yeah, yeah. So I think you've been through a lot, and it's like it gives you so much resilience, right? It makes you really confident that no matter what happens in life, that you can figure it out with your resources that you have. But I love how it hasn't made you bitter, but it's made you stronger, and you have this really cool story to tell people. I know you might not think it's that amazing, but yeah, graduating debt free is not going to be the norm anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think it is. And kind of like you cash flowed it. You didn't have all the money ahead of time. You didn't have parental, family, financial support. So you just had to figure it out. And it sounds like even you're figuring it out sometimes semester by semester or year by year, trying to get the money for the next semester or the next year. But yeah. I mean, it sounds like it was all worth it in the end, but I bet there were some times where it was stressful.
Yeah, definitely. It's so much of like doing time out of my day, applying to those, and then working my internships because I did it concurrently with school, my junior and then now senior year. But it's worth it. It's really fun to like learn like school stuff and then also learn like industry stuff. So I think it has been like a really fun like experience this 4 years. I think, being like a working like college student also teaches you different life skills as well.
I agree.
So
I agree.
it's just
I
really
think
nice.
people undervalue that. And I know this sounds bad because I always tell people they should get a job when they're in college. And they're like, well, why? Because it's not going to pay for everything. And I get that, but it's really good life skills, right? You learned how to balance things. You probably really learned the value of $1, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't just these numbers on paper and all that. And you just start to really learn how to prioritize your time and all that. So I always tell people it's good to work no matter what, even if it was just maybe for pocket money sometimes or like some of your living expenses. It's nice to not feel so constricted when you're in college and all that, right? So
yeah, definitely. I mean, I've also like worked like different like part-time jobs like in food service throughout the 4 years. So it's also just being able to like meet different people and meet different people outside of like UCI. So it's really nice to like have different experiences, make new like relationships and all that. So I definitely say like even if it's not internship, try out like a different part-time job and it could be fun. And it could also get you money.
Yeah, why not? Right? Yeah, exactly. Like all the benefits. So why shouldn't people work when they're in college? I worked a lot when I was in college. So I don't understand kind of the mentality with some people. They don't want to work when they're in college. It was funny. There was a time when I actually stopped working towards the end of college and my grades were even worse. Ironically, I was like, I'm going to have so much more time and I'm going to do better in school. And then I just I felt I squandered the time even more.
Yeah. Because once you like fall out of like a working routine, like you just don't really care about like all the actual stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then I just couldn't stand the thought of racking up any debt, because I think it was like one of my classmates. She's like, "Why do you have to work all the time? Why don't you just borrow or,
Oh yeah.
loan the money, and then you concentrate just on school and have really, really good grades, and then worry about the money later and pay it back." And I tried that for a very tiny amount of time, and it didn't work for me.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a little cloud, like gray cloud above you. It's like there's
Yeah.
that money
Yeah.
there
It
that I have
bothers
to
you.
pay
And
back.
I didn't like that. And I didn't really feel like it made me better at
Yeah.
school. And kind of looking back, yeah, that wasn't a good decision. But luckily I didn't do that long. But I think that's some people's mentality, that like, I'm going to do the best I can and just focus on one thing. But yeah. So where do you think you see yourself? And maybe, I won't say like so far out, maybe 5 years from now.
Um, that's a good. I hope that I've learned so much in like my position that
Mhm.
I'm really good at it, and then I hope to like be like a recruiter, and maybe my company will send me to SWE and I can meet people from like
That's
who
cool.
are like in my position. So that would be really nice to see it like come full circle, and
Mhm.
see like a little bit of myself and like the younger women engineers that are, starting to come. So that would be
Yeah.
really nice. And then yeah, I mean, I hope to have like a house by 5 years, but being in California, that's a lot of that's a lot of money. So we'll see. We'll see where that is. I'll be in 5 years with that, but I just hope to be like content in what I'm doing, and still continuously learning in like the engineering field.
Yeah, I could see you recruiting, or coming back to SWE, sponsored by your company, or like even like I told you before this, I was at my alma mater, talking as an alumni. You're not that far from your school. You could maybe be going back and talking.
Yeah, that would be that would be so much fun. And I mean, with peer advising, we do some like alumni workshops, so I think they'll call me back.
Yeah, that could be really fun. It's just, yeah, I mean, yeah, you don't have to say like you're gonna be president of your company
Yeah, no,
because it's 5 years.
that's
So,
too
yeah, that's very
too little time.
realistic that you just want to be growing and doing well at work and all that, and you've got other life goals about house and, wanting to stay involved with like women engineers and women in STEM. That would be really good. Like
Yeah,
finding ways to give back, because sometimes you get so focused on work, and then it's like, no, there's other things, and there's like, you can do this volunteer stuff. And if you also think of it this way, you kind of have this like platform to speak on. I know it sounds weird, but even when I was in California, because I used to live in California too, and I would do engineering in the classroom stuff. And I was in the Silicon Valley Bay Area, right,
oh
where
yeah,
like everyone's an engineer. And I would still go to events, and people would still be like, "Oh, like women can be engineers." I'm like,
yeah,
if you think about it, the area is so saturated with engineers, like probably all these kids' parents are engineers, and they still don't know, right?
yeah.
So it's nice for them to see that, they have to see different people, and it influences and shapes them. So I felt good about that, because yeah, you would think of any area in the country where you don't need to do outreach about engineering. It's the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, how cool. Okay, well, it was lovely talking with you. Do you have any last things that you want to share, or let anyone know about?
I guess my last thought, to everyone like me or like students that are younger is, just keep putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
Don't get discouraged. I know it's a lot, but keep persisting and it'll all work out. I'm a firm believer in just being like everything will work out in the end. So
Hmm.
just having that like optimism and just yeah, again, like keep persisting. I think it will all work out for whatever you want to do in life. And as long as like that whatever you do still like makes you happy, then that's good.
Oh, yeah, I love that. Yeah, and you can't underestimate. I mean, really, you work really hard to do all that stuff, and it's just that resilience those life skills can never get taken away from you.
Yeah.
And it's going to pay off like it everywhere else. Because sometimes I think, I graduated in 2002, and it was a tough job market, kind of like it's a tough job market now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to struggle to get my first job. But I think of those skills of getting that first job, like no one can ever take that away from me. So when people talk about like good job market, bad job market, people are getting laid off, the economy, such and such is president, I'm like, I'm not that worried. I'm gonna be honest, like, because I know I have it in me to figure it out and make it happen despite the circumstances. And that can never be undervalued, because if it was easy, if everything was handed to you,
it wouldn't
or if
be
you had a job waiting for you, or someone just gave you all the money just because they liked you or whatever, you would take away nothing from that, right? And so
definitely.
yeah. So I'm glad that you have this optimism, but it's true. But beneath that, there's like a lot of hard work, and times probably you have to sacrifice, and like you're talking about time you could have wasted. Or, I know you call it wasting, but like other people would be like, oh, we could have been going out and doing this or watching movies, and it's like you're probably sitting in on Friday nights applying for things, and
Definitely.
and doing all that tedious stuff and just getting rejected over and over and not taking it personally. Yeah, that really can't be undervalued. But learning that so early on, you'll just carry that the rest of your life through your career, whatever you want to do. And I love that for you, because it's just, it's this resourcefulness. You can make it happen no matter what, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you so much for being on. Like I said, I think you're going to be an inspiration to a lot of people. I do get a lot of people reach out kind of upset about, I don't have enough money to pay for college. What do I do? I'm never going to be able to get enough. And I think this helps give them some inspiration about how to go about it. Yeah, because it's just it's depressing when it's just looming like thousands and thousands of dollars of tuition bills and all that, and how are they going to make it every semester? But thanks so much for being on. And I love your story and your resilience, and I'm looking forward to seeing your future in engineering and seeing how you do and keeping up. And thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your kind words. I really appreciate it. And I had such a fun time talking to you on the podcast.
Oh, you're welcome. Hold on, let me end this. Okay. Hold on.